I started woodworking in a neighbor's pig pen in 1975, building porch swings, and I got my first business license in 1982. It's mostly elastic laminate cabinets and solid surface countertops and anything related to that. Right now we're doing mostly healthcare, but we've done some hotels. We did about 850 Walmart stores. That's what got us on the map.
Yeah, I started sweeping the floors when I was about 7 years old, and growing up as a family business, and with our employees, we just incorporated that in.
I think a small business is like a little village within the city. It's a place where you make people's lives better. And then you want to do something that earns you enough money so you can stay in business, and hopefully something that lasts for generations.
He loves the people here. He has the tenacity and the drive. He's surrounded himself with people that know where we're going and listens.
As I thought about this award and our success, really I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the people who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I think that's a lot of what we do here is when we hire people, a lot of them are really broken and they don't believe in themselves, they don't see any potential in themselves, and we believe in them and we see potential in them, and it's amazing what they turn into.
Okay, I would like to ask Philip and Jenna Cohen of Cohen Architectural Woodworking to the podium.
Go ahead and put it up. I'm going to shorten this out of respect for time. I'm going to skim over it. You can go to the website. There's articles being written about us. But when I was 10, 11 years old, I won a lot of yo-yo contests. And I had all these patches from what I'd won that my mother sewed on my jacket. And my friend and I, we won first and second place in several of them. And what we didn't tell anybody was the reason we won first and second place is we were the only ones who showed up. And so when I found out I got the SBA award, I didn't really know what to do. And I thought, you know, am I really the top businessman in Missouri? Or did the guy who was supposed to win, did he forget to put his phone number on the application? And I don't know, or somewhere in between. And so then I wrestled with this thought of when do you get to the point, when do you get to a level of achievement where you no longer need to be humble? And I just came from Washington, D.C., and I saw a lot of people who never wrestled with that question. And so they let arrogance take over in their lives. But I'm going to go very quickly through this out of respect for time, but go ahead. That was me in 1971. I was strung out on drugs, homeless. I was a heroin user. My father was a very violent person. I watched my mother attempt suicide 4 times. My father finally killed himself. When I was younger, my father would spit in my face. He'd tell me I was going to die in a gutter. And he'd make me strip down naked, and he'd beat me in front of the family. And so as I got older, I actually followed in his footsteps. I became a violent, womanizing, strung out on drugs, homeless person. So when we got married, that's where we lived. And it's because I was so broken, we couldn't afford anything. We couldn't afford groceries. We had to raise our own food. We had to make our own clothes. And I started woodworking just out of therapy. I was making wooden trucks with roller skate wheels. My wife did the artwork. Made porch swings, baby cradles, just because it was therapeutic. And for some reason, people bought them from me. And I kept going. Go to the next picture. And so that was me in 1996, because I didn't realize all the pain that was accumulating in me. And I was diagnosed bipolar. And around that time, I wrote a book about a man, missionary in Nicaragua. He took me out in the jungle one day and he said, God's going to heal you someday. And I didn't believe him. But I made a promise to God that if God ever did heal me, I'd give the rest of my life to healing others. And so thanks to the Lord's work in my life in 2002, I stopped taking medication. And I've been able to maintain my emotional health since then. There's some pictures of our workplace, and I've kept my promise to God that I'm giving the rest of my life to healing others. We really are that happy. And we've won numerous national awards for our work. Go on to the next slide. That's our 54,000 square foot facility. Next slide. That's some of the locations where we've been. Going to the next slide. That's the family that we work together. We actually have 7 of our 9 children that work with us. Go to the next slide. That is a brand new family tree coming out of the darkness and breaking all the curses, and that's what you see there. Go to the next slide. And so I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the people who believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. There's John Hubie, who taught me how to build cabinets, and David, who taught me how to work for general contractors, and taught me how to quit thinking such negative thoughts. Next slide. That's Joe, who taught us how to become professional woodworkers. Some of you may have remembered Bill Krogan, who he called me out and he believed in me and he validated me as a leader. Unfortunately, Bill took his own life because of the pressures of running a business. Next slide. There's the man who told me God would heal me on the left. That's Pablo. And on the right, Eldon, the pastor who helped us get out of all the darkness. Next slide. There's Rick Box, who walked me through how to have a faith-based company, unapologetically faith-based. There's Traven Shelton, who nominated us. I didn't think we'd win this. There's Bill. When I was struggling what to do, how do I stand up? And Bill said, Philip, just pack some clean underwear and go up and be yourself. I said, Bill, I bought new underwear. He said, then you're ready. There's Kevin. Kevin and Laura, they've led over 1 million people to Christ. And Kevin has validated me as a man of God. There's Linda. I've got to tell you the story of Linda because Steve was a man who would hug me and he'd tell me how much he loved me. And he used to work for us. And I thought Steve was my mission field, and I tried to convert him. And I realized that he was a man of God at the time, and I wasn't. And so the day I was supposed to apologize to Steve was the day of his funeral. And I stood up and apologized to the community instead. And I asked Linda, I said, did Steve realize how arrogant I was? And that I thought he was my mission field? She said, Philip, he loved you just the way you were. And he knew you'd come around someday. Next slide. And standing next to me is a woman who's been with me for 41 years through all the violence and abuse and depression. And the poverty, and I don't know how, every time I look, she's still there. Next slide. And this is our team, and if we didn't believe in each other, we couldn't do this. You know, I'm going to just say it boldly, even Jesus couldn't do miracles when people didn't believe in him, and nobody can accomplish anything if people don't believe in themselves or each other. Next slide. So I'm going to finish with that. This was from Boys Town in the 40s. It was a Catholic orphanage. And here's a boy carrying his brother in the snow. And the caption says, he ain't heavy, Father, he's my brother. And I just wonder, you know, how much snow did he have to go through? How much dark night? How much loneliness did he go through? And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for those people who carried me and said I wasn't heavy. And I wonder how many of you are willing to be that for someone else. And to me, it's so much greater than standing up here to know that you're the one who made that difference so that someone else could be standing up here. Thank you.